Good evening. How you doing? We had a great day today. Kelly and I spent the entire day running around looking at countertops, and Kelly's a little bit ahead of the curve on me on this one because I know absolutely nothing about countertops. And so it's been kind of educational and kind of interesting at the same time. So it was just a really good day, spending time together and talking to new friends. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit tonight about how we read our Bibles, and we all have favorite verses, we all have maybe favorite books, favorite songs, favorite proverbs, and we like to take our Bible in little bites. We like to put up the verse of the day, or have something embroidered on our wall, or a pillow, or something like that, and I'm sure many of us have a favorite verse. But I think if we're going to be honest with each other, we will admit that there are things in the Bible that are kind of difficult, and probably not. There are some verses that are probably not anybody's favorite verse. I'm reminded of a dog returns to his own vomit. I don't know of anybody that has chosen that as their favorite verse, but all the verses come from God. They're all inspired. They're all meant to teach, to convict, to help us conform to His image. They're all meant for our good. And so I want to talk to you about one or two of those verses tonight. And it has a lot to do with who we love and how we love. So the question for this evening is, who do you love? And Scripture tells us who we should love. But maybe if we just look at the verse that talks about that, it's a little hard for us to absorb without understanding exactly what it's saying. So I've got a little bit of tea here. It's just from Chamomile. Looking for a good night's rest. Got an early morning tomorrow and a couple of appointments. So get yourself something. Let's relax together and open up to Matthew chapter 10. Matthew chapter 10. And here we see a verse that we've talked about before, but we're going to look at 34 through 30. Let's take it through 37. Okay? And this is Jesus speaking. He says, "Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth." That's a little bit of a challenge right there. "I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a person's enemies will be those of his own household." And then here comes the challenge. "Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me." Now this sounds pretty harsh. It sounds like we love Jesus and nobody else. Be careful not to love your father and mother. Be careful. It sounds like God is vengeful and jealous and so on and so forth. But that's not what he's saying, because this has to be taken in the context of everything else that the Scripture says as well. And one of the things the Scripture tells us is that God is love. So if God is love, what is this about? Well, he's not telling us not to love our father and mother. And so that needs to be clear. He says, don't think I've come to bring peace. I've come to bring a sword. He will be the dividing line. He'll be the dividing line between those who believe in him and those who don't. If you are one who believes in him and your father or mother don't, there will be some division there. And some of you have experienced that. I've heard your stories. So Jesus comes to draw the line and say, these are the ones that will be with God, and those who do not believe will not be with God. And so that's what he's talking about, not coming to bring peace, but a sword. And he calls us to love him supremely. Now he does that because he loves us supremely. So it's a mutual relationship we have with him. He says, "I love you supremely. I've sacrificed my life for you. Love me supremely." And so he doesn't say not to love your father and mother or your son or your daughter. We are to love them with all the compassion, all the mercy, all the grace that we have received. We love them profoundly. We love them with the very fiber of our being. But we love Jesus more. So Jesus calls us to be the focus of our lives. He wants himself to be the focus of our lives. He wants to be our consuming passion. And if we're going to read the full counsel of Scripture, we need to realize that if we love Jesus more than anything else, then by the presence and power of the Spirit in us, it will give us the capability to love our father, our mother, our sons, our daughters, the people around us in an even more profound fashion. The more we love Christ, the more we become like him, the more we're able to love like him. So he's not telling us to hate our mother and father. He's telling us to love them like he does. But start with loving him. I hope that blesses you. I hope you have a great night. I miss you. I love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow.